All right, now let's talk about partial sums. Partial sums is where you add up a whole sequence. So when it says find the fifth partial sum, it means the sum of the first 5 terms. So what you need to do is find each of those terms. So like a sub 1 would equal 1 squared minus 3. So 1 squared is 1 minus 3 equals negative 2. And so then we would take the second term, which is 2 squared, which is 4, and subtract 3 from that, we'd get 1. And then we take the third term, which is 3 squared, which is 9, minus 3 gives us 6. And then we take the fourth term, which is 4 squared minus 3. 4 squared is 16, minus 3 is 13. And then you take the fifth term. And the fifth term, again, this is explicit sequence because I can just plug in any number at any time. I should have said that earlier. It just helps you out. 5 squared is 25, minus 3 is 22. Now all we need to do is add up these numbers. So negative 2 and 1 gives us negative 1. Add 6 is positive 5. Now we have 18. Add 18, that we get 40. So the partial sum, how you do that is you do S with a 5. That S stands for sum. That 5 tells you the first 5 numbers is 40. And this is your answer. Now, here's the deal. There's a way we can do this on the calculator as well. I'm going to show you this. If you come over here and press set, let me see if it's here. I know it's in with the book. Yes, this thing right there, that's the partial sum. All right? So what you do is you hit that button, and we're going to say what the letter is. The letter that they gave us for the equation is N. So I'm going to say N equals 1. You start at the beginning. So this is saying that we want from the first term to the fifth term. So you put a 5 up at the top. This will add the first 5 terms. And then you put the equation. You don't type in the a sub n. You just do what this equation is equal to. N squared minus 3. So I put that here. N squared minus 3. I press enter. It adds them together, and we get that value 40 that I was talking about. Now part B asks us to find the fourth partial sum. So that's what that means, fourth partial sum. So we could add them all together, or again, we could go to our calculator. And so we would say this time if I want the fourth partial sum, I go to the button next to 9 that has all these weird symbols. You hit that one. We would say N, and we want the fourth partial sum. So we start from 1, and we're going to go up to 4. And the equation was 6 over, so we do 6 over 2 to the power of n. Before I hit enter, I want to check this one more time. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. 2 to the power of n. I'm going to make sure one more time that that's the equation. Yeah, 2 to the power of n. So when I press enter, we see that this time the answer is 45 over 8. If you press Control Enter, you can get that as a decimal if we so needed it in that form. And so now we know our answer here. And you can write it whatever method you need to. So we could say, I'll write it as a decimal. So we'd say fourth partial sum is 5.625. And that would be your answer. That's adding up the first 4 values. So now your turn. You can try this. If you want to use Desmos, what you're going to need to do is go over to the Functions tab and look in Miscellaneous, I believe is where you'll find that. See if you can find the fifth partial sum of that equation.